Hey folks, welcome back to the channel and thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to be talking all about heat inside the RV. Have you ever gone out camping in the fall, in the winter, on those chilly, cooler nights, and you're trying to add a little bit extra heat to your RV and you turn the built-in propane furnace on and all of a sudden your RV gets 20, 25,000, 30,000 BTUs of heat all at once and it turns into a sauna. And you know, what I just described highlights one of the common problems that we face as RVers, the way that the built-in propane furnaces work. It's just all that heat all at once, all on full force. And sometimes it's too much for the RV. And there's not an in-between. It's either all the way on or all the way off. And so how do you add, a nice, steady, even heat to your RV, make everyone comfortable, especially through the night, so you're not constantly waking up with those temperature swings, right? And that's really where this RV cabin heater from Xtreme Heaters comes into play, because it's going to deliver a nice, steady, even, consistent heat throughout the night, and it's all electric, so you're not going to be using propane. Now you might be looking at this and thinking it's just a fancy space heater. What's so special about this one compared to other heaters on the market? So let me go ahead and open it up, unbox it, and show you what I think makes this one from Xtreme Heaters so special and unique. So check this out right here. This is the RV cabin heater from Xtreme Heaters. And really what I think makes this one so special and so unique is the form factor. Most space heaters are taller. Sometimes they're 2 feet, 3 feet tall. Sometimes they're 12 inches tall. This one has a very unique form factor in that it's more of a tabletop, a desktop form factor where it can sit flat and you don't have to worry about height clearances. Now let me start out by giving you the dimensions of this unit in case you're trying to fit it in a certain space. So the overall length right here from front to back, it's got a curved profile on the back, so I'm gonna line it up as best I can. Right about 13 inches tip to tip right there. And then as far as the height goes, when it's set flat right here, it's going to be taller in the front, about 5 3/4 inches in the front. And then in the back right here, it kind of tapers, let's say right about 4 inches, and then it tapers down. And then as far as the width goes across here, right at about, looks like 9 5/8. It's the widest in the front here, and then it tapers down in the back to about 9 1/8. So very compact dimensions, and really I think what makes this a game changer is think about all the places that you could put this heater that you couldn't fit a tall ordinary space heater, right? I mean, you could put it under the dinette so it's not out in the walkway right here. Now certainly you don't want to push this so far under something so that it doesn't have good ventilation, because that heat is going to come out of the front here and that heat's going to want to rise. So I'm thinking more put it along an aisle or a walkway where it's right on the edge under something, a table, maybe a Murphy bed, a bunk area, somewhere where it's out of the walkway but it's still got room for that heat to exhaust and come out of there. And I think that's what really makes this a game changer. And then the other thing that strikes me about this form factor being more of a desktop style is it's much more stable and planted. It's not as easy to tip over. A lot of space heaters that are tall, they're very wobbly, and you just bump them a little bit and all that weight up top, it wants to tip over. Most heaters have some kind of anti-tip protection, so they'll shut off. Of course, this one does as well. In fact, it's internal. It's not a switch that you can defeat on the bottom. It's actually internal. I can hear it, clicking as I rotate it there. So that's really nice. It still has that safety, but I mean, this thing's going to be very hard to tip. Even if I push it or bump it, it's got so much weight that's spread out. It's just going to be very sturdy and very planted. Now it is 100% electric, so there's no propane involved. Basically, if you've got electricity at your campsite, you've got free heat, essentially. And what I like about this one is it's got 2 different levels of heat. Over here is the control knob. If you turn it 1 click to the fan symbol, it's going to be fan only. If you go to the number 1, you're going to have 750 watts of heat. And then if you go to the number 2, you're going to have 1500 watts of heat. So that's a good bit of heat. For an RV this size, this would be more than sufficient, even at temps down to probably 32 degrees, to keep it nice and cozy in here. And then I also like that on the opposite side, it is thermostatically controlled. And so it doesn't have numbers where you would set the temperature based on number, but it does have a dial right here. And so essentially what you'll do is you'll turn it on to the max first, And then once you feel comfortable in the RV, you start backing down that temperature dial till you hear it click and turn off. And then you know that's the desired set temperature that's comfortable to you. Now, one thing that makes this electric heater very unique is the freeze protection setting right here on the thermostat. If I turn it to that freeze protection setting, it's going to maintain 45 to 50 degrees automatically. Now, the manufacturer recommends you keep it on the first setting there, 750 watts, because typically you're going to be leaving this unattended in that case. But that's really what Xtreme Heaters is known best for, is freeze protection. In fact, I've been using their freeze protection heaters for 4 to 5 years. I recently published a video on this one here, so if you're interested in it, I'll put a card above. This would be something that goes into your underbelly or in your wet bay area to keep all your vulnerable plumbing from freezing up. But this really, I think, complements it nicely, because this then could go inside of your RV. You set it to that freeze protection mode, and having the two working in conjunction with one another, it really is a complete turnkey solution, so you don't have to winterize then. And I talked more about that in the other video I recently published, so definitely check that one out. One of the things I really like about this heater is if you're using it as a cabin heater to heat and warm the inside of your RV, whether you're inside physically or not there, it's built from the ground up with safety in mind. And I think that's really what Xtreme Heaters is known for, is designing very safe heaters for boats and RVs. And so this inside cabin heater carries on that tradition. It has the self-regulating PTC, the positive temperature coefficient technology. So that means it only draws, the power it needs to maintain the desired heat. And so that prevents overheating. Of course, it's got the tip over protection, like I mentioned, although I will say it is very stable, so it's unlikely to tip in the first place. It does have overheat protection, which is, of course, essential because you don't want it to get too hot. It does have a cool touch housing, so when you touch the outer housing, it's not going to burn your fingers. It has the integrated thermostat, so it's going to cycle on and off automatically when it reaches the desired temperature. But I think what I like most about an electric heat source, especially one this size, is you're going to have a nice, even, steady stream of heat. And I think that's something we really appreciate as RVers, especially at nighttime when we're sleeping. We don't want those wildly fluctuating temperature swings that you're going to get from your built-in, propane furnace, where you're getting, 20, 30, maybe even 40,000 BTUs of heat all at once in a space when you just don't need all that. And so this is going to have just a nice gradual stream of hot air. And even if I've been away from my RV for a long time and it's cooler inside, well, I can crank it up to the max to the 1500 watt setting. Otherwise, at nighttime, I'm probably going to keep it on the first setting there, the 750 watt setting. And then I can adjust the thermostat and have that nice steady temperature all night long. And everyone's going to sleep better. It's just going to be a whole lot more comfortable. And really, I would use something like this in an RV of this size. This is a smaller, 22-foot long bunkhouse. I would use this over my propane furnace, even when temperatures get all the way down to about 32 or so, and this would be more than sufficient. So there's a lot to like about this heater. I think for me personally, it's the safety and the comfort that it delivers that I appreciate the most. If you have any questions about this heater, definitely drop me a comment down below and I'd be glad to answer it. If you're interested in purchasing this heater, I will include a link down below. I appreciate you using that to help support the channel. As always, thanks for watching.